afternoon. Good afternoon.
Sir, we will wait 2 minutes more. Already
Yeah.
50 participants joined. Then we will start. Sir.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay. Good afternoon again. I request all the participants to mute their audio and video throughout the session, unless there is a question, to avoid any kind of glitches. So, welcome to the 6th day of our online certificate program on advanced research methodology. Again, we have our expert and resource person, Professor Uma Shankar Misra. Already we have done one class, one session on selection of research objecting and questions. So again, we got the opportunity to listen to him. So today topic is pilot study, reliability and validity. So without wasting time, I request Professor Misra to take over the session.
Okay, thank you. So, good afternoon to all participants, and welcome back again to my session. So, in last session, what we have discussed that we emphasize on how to identify the research gap and how to define and formulate the research problem. Then once you will define research problem, then formulation will be easier, of course. But to make it more easier, what we are doing, we are fragmenting or decomposing the research problem statement to different statements or different type of dimensions. So each of the statement or dimension, it will convert in an interrogative form. That means if you write in question form, then that will be called as a research question. So research questions are nothing but just a mirror image of research problem. So research problem is just one type of generalized statement of your research gap which you are going to do. But research question is just one detailed explanation of your research problem, exactly what you are going to answer through your research work. So in order to answer different research questions, so definitely you have to set different objectives. So that's after research question you are setting different research objectives, not objectives of your study, but research objective. What is the objective of your work that you have to write? Because most of the people they are writing objectives like your to discuss, to review the literature. These are the by default things you have to do. All these work. So that should not be the part of research objective statement. The research objective statement should be very, very specific. What you want to do and which is unique, which is different from others. So that's a maximum 2 to 3 research objectives we are keeping whenever we are doing on our doctoral work. But thing is that whenever you are setting your research question, the research objective, you have to be acquainted with different type of study variables or what type of variables you are going to measure through your research work. So that's a measurement part is the most important part, and while you are measuring the study variable, then definitely the question arises about your reliability and validity of your measured variables. So that's a here because most of the study variables may not be measured, or although it can be measured, but the measurement scale, whatever you will use, or the measurement instrument, whatever you will use, so that has to be tested whether it is perfectly valid instrument, or reliable instrument or not, or whatever data you are collecting through this instrument, the data is valid or reliable or not. So I will discuss what is this reliability validity in detail, and we will also discuss what are the different types of reliability validity to test or to evaluate the measurement scale or to evaluate the measurement instrument. So while you are making your database for research work, the database should be refined in every step, step of your work, in every step of your research process. So that's the data filtration work will be a continuous work for you. It is not like that. Once you have filtered out some type of invalid data, all other data, whatever you are remaining, that is valid data. So it is a continuous affair. Even till the end of your research work, some type of bias, some type of unrequired data may be analyzed. So that's it, that you have to take care about the theoretical validity and quantitative validity part of your research work also. So that's it here. I am assigned to discuss about pilot survey, reliability and validity. So what is that pilot survey? Because all these works, whatever you are doing, that should be the part of your pilot study, because um, once you collect the data, and if you will not test that data in a limited or confined or in restricted manner, so definitely all the effort may be wasted. So that's a to save all the time, to save more time, to save your budget. Definitely initial screening is required while you are designing your questionnaire or while you are collecting your data. So once you are designing your questionnaire, so definitely so many steps of questionnaire design you might be knowing, or in different session of this workshop. I don't know whether session on questionnaire design has been done or not, but definitely there are different steps of designing questionnaires are there, different approaches of questionnaire design are there. So while you are designing the questionnaire means survey instrument. So for each survey instrument, whether you are developing a new survey instrument of your own, or you are modifying the existing survey instrument, or you are directly applying the existing survey instrument, that doesn't matter. But survey instrument has to be tested, because your context has been changed, and your time has been changed, your units of analysis have been changed. So that's here again, whether that same instrument is working properly or not, that has to be tested, and that test you have to do taking just like a trial basis. You have to test. That means in limited sample and in limited confined area, you have to test that questionnaire to test its accuracy level and consistency level of your instrument. So that's that type of trial test is called as a pilot survey test. That means you are testing your questionnaire or study variables, your data accuracy level, data consistency level in a limited database by considering maybe 30 to 40 respondents. Generally, in social science research, uh, the sample size we are keeping 400 to 500 in general in our management science particularly. And if you are keeping sample size, final
Sorry
sample
to
size.
intervene.
Yeah.
Are you sharing the PPT? Is it on the screen?
No, I am not shared till now. When
Okay.
I will share, I will give.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So whenever you are doing research in management science, particularly on survey-based research, I am not talking about experimental research or any other type of laboratory research. So in survey-based research, what you are doing, in general, we can say 400 to 500 target sample size. So if it is 400 to 500, then minimum 10% of your target sample size should be the sample size of your pilot survey. That means 40 to 50 should be the sample size of your pilot survey to test the accuracy or consistency level of the study variables. And this is not a rule of thumb that 10% of target sample size should be the sample size of pilot survey. This is generally most of the researchers, most of the established researchers, they have mentioned that 40 to 50 is okay for drawing some conclusion out of your survey. But thing is that before going to discuss in detail about reliability and validity, we should know some basic concepts of measurement, because validity and reliability are highly related with measurement scale, and measurement is highly related to different languages of research. And in last session of mine, probably I had given certain type of hints on language of research. So language of research, just like your concept, construct, variable, theory, model, hypothesis. So these are the different type of terms we are using while you are either writing a paper, or we are writing one thesis, or we are doing our own research work, because whenever you are reviewing the literature, you may come across all these terms like your concept, construct, your variable, model, like this. So concept is just that means certain terms are there whose concepts are different for different type of people for different type of context. Suppose mother is a term. So for me, mother is just a concept who is the biological parent of a child, that is your mother. But for other people, maybe the meaning of mother, that mother is any person who is a careful person, who is caring others, who is loving others. So that's a loving and caring nature of a person is the core work of a mother. So that's a we are replacing that person by using the word mother. So that's it for each term in research. The actual meaning, dictionary meaning, may not be applied in your present context. So that's a what meaning you have considered in your research work that you have to operationalize. So operationalize means you have to give the operational definition of the terms you have used. And that operational definition of each term, whatever you are using, will give you the actual concept you have taken in your research work. So that's a you're like that. Whenever we are guiding our research scholar, we are in the initial phase of time. In the past 6 months, we are saying then that you go for literature review so that you will have conceptual clarity. So what is that conceptual clarity? Because conceptual clarity, unless until just a minute, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So conceptual clarity is nothing but the how far you are clear about different concept of same term, because same term may be used in different meaning by different researcher, by applying different approach of research, by taking different industry of research, by taking different methodology of research. So that's a while they are reviewing, always I say that don't forget to write the methodology of your literature review, whatever you are making, because if methodology will be changed, then there may be a conceptual difference of same term. So that's a conceptual clarity will be arrived if you go through huge literature review. And unless until you are clear about concept, then don't think about your reliability and validity test, because for you, The same term may have low reliability score, but for others, the same database for same variable may have some high reliability score because their concept is different and your concept is different, although the term name of the variable is same. Definitely, these things you have to take care before testing, directly testing, because the reliability validity is just a matter of 2 to 3 minutes for a software, because if you use the software, it will give the outcome of reliability. So whatever the score, whatever you have calculated to software is accurately done, theoretically done, appropriate theory is supported or not, appropriate justification, appropriate logic are present or not. So that is more important, because in research where theory matters 80%, quantitative matters only 20%. But what people think in opposite way, if more and more complex data analysis you will make, they think that it is good research. No, this is wrong. Because the theoretical justification, the conceptual clarity, the basic root level you have to go through. So that's a something new, something new contribution you may make if theoretically you are strong in that emerging area of topic. So that's a here. This is just one of the idea I gave about the concept of any type of term you are using in your research. Now again, another is your construct. So construct is also another word generally you are using. So construct is nothing but a set of interrelated concepts. Suppose, for example, while you are cooking in your kitchen, you are using different type of oils, different type of spice, different type of seeds, different type of suppose what is that powders, or your salt, different type of salt, sugar, like this. So these type of ingredients you are using while you are cooking. But suppose in your cupboard in your kitchen, suppose you have not arranged in an organized way of all these stuff, all these things. Suppose in upper rack, one mustard oil bottle is there, and again in lower rack, another peanut oil bottle is there. In middle rack, another oil bottle is also there. So definitely, while you are cooking, you will feel inconvenient in searching a particular type of oil you are requiring. So that's say it will be easier if you'll arrange all the oil bottles in one rack. So definitely, because all the oils are somehow highly correlated with each other. Why they're highly correlated? Because their use is almost same. Because you cannot replace oil by adding salt, or you cannot replace oil by adding water. So that's a somehow you can manage. Suppose you can't find mustard oil, so somehow you can manage with peanut oil, but you cannot manage with salt, because that is a totally different concept. That should not be the part of the set of this oil set. So this oil set is just a construct, and it consists of different type of oils. And so that if you arrange all the oil bottles in a rack, and all the spice packets in another rack, all the seeds in another pack, so definitely it will be easier to access. So each of the set, oil set is a construct, seed set is another construct, then spice set is another construct, because each of the construct consists of related construct concept or interrelated concept. So that's a construct is that type of variable which is not clearly defined, or which is not visible to us, because there is no bottle called as oil. Oil is just a term where in your mind that oil picture is there. But under that construct, under that dimension, we are having some visible item, like this is peanut oil, this is mustard oil, this is other type of oil, sunflower oil or refined oil. So they say each of the concept is visible, but the entire set of the concept is not visible. But we are conceptualizing, we are visualizing in our mind. Okay. So that's a constructs are intangible in nature. Constructs are not tangible. It cannot be seen by the researcher directly. It cannot be measured by the research directly, but it can be the score of that oil can be measured if we individually measure all the items under oil category. Okay, so that's a here when a concept is eligible to be measured, when a particular concept you are measuring by some method, then if measurement is possible for each of the concept, then that concept which is measurable concept is called as a variable. Okay, but so many concepts may not be measured, although they are concept, but they may not be measured. So if they cannot be measured, that cannot be called as a variable. Okay, so variable is any concept and which is having some relationship with other type of concept consisting one construct or one dimension and which can be measured is called as a variable. Okay, and different type of variables. So last class we have also discussed in the independent variable, dependent variable, moderating, whatever. But that is different thing. Okay, how you are treating the variable in your research work, depending upon your treatment, you are defining whether it is independent or dependent or intervening or whatever. But variable is that concept which can be measured. Okay, and it must have some friend variable which are highly related to those variable or to in giving another master variable that is called a latent variable, and latent variable are not visible, that is intangible. It can only be conceptualized, it can only be realized, internalized, but it cannot be measured directly. Okay, so that's say here always I in different classes always I give example. Suppose podium, blackboard, whiteboard, marker, LCD projector, then your what is that overhead projector, computer, laptop. So whenever I tell all these things, then suddenly if I will ask one question to my audience that can you identify what I am going to tell? So they will tell, sir, probably you are talking about a classroom. How they can visualize that I am talking about the classroom? Because all the terms, whatever I used, all the concept, whatever I said, those concepts are somehow related to each other, giving one dimension, and that dimension is hidden dimension. Although I have not altered any word about classroom, but that dimension is underlying dimension, that is hidden dimension, and that dimension is just a classroom. So there is no term clearly I mentioned by altering the word classroom. Okay, so that's a classroom is just a construct. So classroom is just an example of your construct or any type of latent variable. Okay, so in order to measure the classroom, I have to measure the related concept of that classroom. Like I have to measure blackboard, I have to measure whiteboard, I have to measure laptop, I have to measure the podium, table, bench, all these things. So direct measurement is possible for the items, and in research we are using the term item. That means all the variable which can be measured, obviously variable have to be measured. So all the measurable concept which are called as a variable, if they constitute one dimension together, then for that dimension these variables are called as items, research items. Okay, so that's say here these things always we have to keep in mind because suddenly you don't jump to measure the reliability and validity, but these things always you have to keep in your mind before running any type of reliability and validity analysis. Because whether these items are logically valid or not to be the part of that construct or not. So that's a, that thing should always keep it because logic is the first priority, but quantitative score is the second priority. Okay. The next one is your hypothesis, because whenever you are talking about a hypothesis, because I'm discussing about some of the language of research, then I will discuss few concept of measurement, then directly we will go to the reliability and validity, and because these things are required in pilot survey. So that's whenever you are talking about a hypothesis, so most of the people they are saying hypothesis is nothing but any type of assumption. Any type of assumption about what? Assumption about certain type of study variables. Yes, I agree. But do you think all the assumptions are testable? Do you think all the assumptions are can be verified or can be tested? No. because certain assumption cannot be tested, cannot be verified because of so many reasons. What are those so many reasons? Maybe because of unavailability of data, because of we are not aware about the what kind of variable can measure this type of to arrive at a conclusion of this type of hypothesis. So that's we are having less access to that type of supporting database. So that's any type of assumption which cannot be tested empirically, that is not a hypothesis. Okay, that is only called as proposition, or merely these are just assumption or proposition. So all the proposed statement not necessarily will be the research hypothesis. But reverse is true, of course. All the research hypotheses are a proposition. But all the proposed statement or proposition may not be the research hypothesis, because few of the proposed statement may not be tested empirically. Empirical means fact-based, evidence-based. So if you can't collect the fact, if you can't access the evidence or fact, so definitely you have no right to say this is right or wrong. If you are saying this is true, prove it. If this hypothesis is false, again you have to prove it. But to prove that hypothesis as true or false, you require data. So if you don't have any data, theoretically, if you will tell no, this is right or this is wrong, then it has no meaning. So that's whenever you are talking about hypothesis, you must carry in your mind, it must be testable. It must have some supporting data, either for the hypothesis or against the hypothesis. Okay. So hypotheses again are expressed or formulated in different forms, like null hypothesis, alternate hypothesis. That is different thing, and that is another issue of hypothesis testing or different types of hypothesis testing. The next one is a model. In your research work, we are coming across frequently one term called model. Models are different type of models also, some type of graphical models, some type of mathematical models.
Excuse me, sir. There is no PPT.
So different type of models. Yeah. No, till now I have not shared any PPT. So when I share my PPT, I will tell that let me share the PPT. So till now I have not shared any PPT. So don't worry about that. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Yes, yes. So till now I have not shared any PPT. Whenever I will share any PPT or any other document, I will tell. So right now only we are discussing. So if any query you have during this discussion, you may interrupt me. Okay. So that's here, and that is also my bigger problem, that preparation of PPT and sharing PPT is very tedious work for me. Anyway, but I will share few of the PPTs after my session, because I will also send this PPT to your coordinator email ID. He may send the same PPT to you. But in the due course of time, I will also show some of the PPT. Anyway, so whenever we are talking about model, so model means abstraction of reality. So abstraction of reality, that means what facts you are observing in real life, that observation, if you articulate in a diagrammatic form, or in a mathematical form, or in a conceptualized form, so that type of forms are called as a model. Suppose, for example, a plus b whole square. A plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. That formula is itself a model in mathematics. So any value of a and b you can put in this formula, the result will be in the same format of a square plus b square plus 2ab. So that's it. This formula is worldwide same. It is highly generalized. So that's a model has to be highly generalized. Unless until it is generalized, you cannot say it is a perfect research model. So, and that model must work in same way everywhere, all the parts of your country, in all type of industry. So if it will give different type of result in different industry or different application, then definitely that model is not the appropriate model or not a good model. So that's the fitness of model. The model fitness should be appropriate. At least 90% time the results should be consistent whenever you are using or applying that model in different forum of research. So that's in our case in social science research, whenever you are developing any type of model, we are testing that model by using some of the sophisticated techniques. Like in structural education model, you are applying so many type of index of goodness of fit. So that's this goodness of fit index is itself the indications of validity and reliability of your model. How far your model is best fitted model, how far your model is valid model in comparison to all the parallel model or competitive model, that can be easily checked through this goodness of fit indices. So that's here. But one thing, one risk is there while you are constructing your model, or while you are evaluating your model, or while you are testing your model. One risk is there. The variables, whatever you are using in the model, whether those variables are valid variables or not. Because sometimes the variables are individually valid, but whenever you are putting that variable in a particular model which you are targeting to achieve, then that variable become invalid variable for that model. So that's most of the times I give one example. Suppose you are making tea, you are making kheer. So kheer is your final target. So in order to prepare kheer, you require some of the rice, some of the water, some of the sugar, some of the milk, like this. But by mistake, instead of rice, suppose you have taken tea dust, keeping all other ingredients are same, then definitely you will get a cup of tea, not a bowl of kheer. So that's your model was made for getting kheer, but your outcome, whatever you have got, that is your cup of tea, because some keeping all the ingredients same, but you have done a simple silly mistake. Instead of rice, you have taken tea dust. So that's a small mistake in choosing the study variable in a particular model, in a specific model, may change the entire scenario of your research work. So that's while you are choosing the variable, again, each of the variable has to be perfectly tested with its reliability and validity score. So that's not only the overall model's fitness you have to check, but also the individual variables, whatever you have taken in that model, has to be tested individually with its reliability and validity score. Okay, so that's this is the this thing why I am discussing, because this thing gives you the idea about the how important is to test the reliability and validity of any type of research model, or any type of research variable, or any type of research instrument. Because if you not test the validity and reliability, the entire outcome, whatever you had desired to get, that outcome will be entirely different from your target. So that's here, this is the thing. That's why you are every moment of time, at each step of the research process, we are very much interested to test its reliability and validity. So this is all about your some idea about the language of research. But whenever you are talking about a measurement scale, so definitely we have to come across so many concepts of measurement. So let me share one of the screen about measurement. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So here you can see there are four primary levels of measurement because okay, first of all, can anybody tell what do you mean by measurement? What do you mean by measurement? In general, as a layman, you tell what do you mean by measurement? I'm not asking anything about your research. Hello?
Measurement is just something
Okay.
that evaluate quantitatively. And it a number, it give assign numerical.
Okay, then what do you mean by measurement scale? Any idea about measurement scale?
So, nominal, ordinal, ratio, interval scale, sir.
No, that is the further categorization of measurement scale. First of all, you just tell me what is the concept of measurement scale. What is a scale?
Okay. A measurement scale, it is a means by which you measure a variable depending on the nature of the data. That is the measurement scale.
Okay. So whenever you are talking about measurement, you are just assigning some number to one of the attribute of an object. Suppose the object is a person, and attribute of that person is suppose age. So I'm going to measure age. I'm not going to measure the person. So whenever you are doing any measurement, you are assigning some number for one of the attribute or one of the characteristics carried by an object. Suppose I am going to measure the length of the bench. So bench is the object and length is the attribute of that object. So whatever number I am going to assign, that number is meant for length. That number is not meant for bench. So that's any number, whatever you are assigning to the attribute of an object, that is called a measurement. But while you are assigning the number, it must be based upon certain standard rule. So that standard rule can be, or generalized rule must be maintained while you are assigning the number. Suppose for you, the length of the bench is 2 meter, and for others, they may tell it is 200 centimeters. For others, they may tell it is somehow this amount of feet. So different units of measurement they are using, but all are correct because the standard conversion rule from meter to centimeter or centimeter to feet, that conversion rule is worldwide same. And again, whenever you are measuring, you are using a scale, that scale is just a continuum. So it is a continuum which contains some of the numbers. So suppose in our generally the scale we are using 15 centimeter scale or 6-inch scale in our geometry works. So you can see that this is just a continuum of different millimeters and centimeters, and that is that gap between two consecutive marks are same worldwide. So that's it is a continuum where the markings are there for different numbers, and those marking, the gap between the markings are worldwide same because it is based upon a standard rule. So that's whenever you are measuring some of the variables by using a scale, whether the scale is based upon one standard rule or not, that has to be checked. So because sometimes you are using this measurement scale to measure the attitude of a customer, and same scale if you use to measure the attitude of customer on another day, then the scale may give some erratic results. So how far your scale is perfect, how far your measurement scale is generalized. I'm not saying that to measure the qualitative attribute measurement scale validity should be 100%. But at least 80 to 90% score should be same for different time for different type of objects. So that's while you are using the measurement scale, definitely you have to test its reliability and validity first. Then you have to think about its generalizability or application of different type of areas of research. But while you are talking about measurement scale, there are four basic type of measurement scale you are using. These are called the primary scales of measurement. And these primary scales of measurement are just shown in the slide. That is your nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. And nominal scale, the numbers, whatever we are giving, that numbers have no numerical interpretation. This is just only for identification purpose. Like your 1 for yes, 0 for no. This 1 and 0 are only the coded numbers for yes and no. So that's these nominal numbers are called as your measurement scale, which is called a non-metric scale of measurement. Non-metric scale of measurement or categorical scale of measurement. That means the variable, whatever you are measuring, that variable is called as a categorical variable, because this variable I don't want to measure exactly with number, but I want to categorize this variable. Whether yes category or no category, whether male category or female category, whether interested category or not interested category. So either 2 category or 3 category or 4 category or n number of category. If my target is to categorize the variable, then definitely I have to use the scale which is nominal in nature. Then ordinal scale of measurement. In case of ordinal scale of measurement, not only I am categorizing, but also I am making a sequence or order, either from higher to lower or from lower to higher. That means I am making certain type of rank based upon the preference level or based upon the what is that intention level or based upon their attitude level. So different type of criteria I may say to give the rank. But finally, each of the measured variable position has some meaning. But in case of nominal scale, its position has no numerical meaning. Okay, 1 is greater than 0, that doesn't mean yes is always higher than no. And if I'll assign 1 for female, 0 for male, and that doesn't mean female are always greater than male. So that type of interpretation we can't make in case of nominal scale. But in case of ordinal scale, since I'm assigning some numbers in either ascending order or descending order, in a particular order I am maintaining, then higher the value, maybe higher the order or lower the order. So that type of interpretation I can make in case of ordinal scale. But thing is that in ordinal scale, the gap between two consecutive respondents or their two consecutive scores may not be equal for another two consecutive scores. So that's a suppose best strength rank list. Best strength rank list, suppose rank holder 1 is has secured 2 marks more than rank holder 2. But there is no guarantee that rank number 2 holder will secure exactly same 2 marks more than rank number 3. So that's the gap between two consecutive ranks may not be same, not necessarily. But which has to be same in case of interval scale of measurement. So that's a interval scale of measurement, ratio scale of measurement are commonly known as your metric scale of measurement. But nominal scale of measurement and ordinal scale of measurement are commonly known as your non-metric scale of measurement. So in case of interval scale of measurement, the gap between two consecutive numbers is same, but however, the starting point may not be fixed at a particular point. Okay, you may use 0 to 10 scale, you may use 1 to 20 scale, you may use -3 to +3 scale. So that's a starting point may not be fixed for measurement of interval scale. In suppose time measurement, we are using 12-hour format, you are using 24-hour format. For measuring temperature, we are using Kelvin scale, we are using centigrade scale. So for all different type of version, the starting point is not fixed, but we are measuring accurately by using that type of scale. So to avoid this type of confusion, the highest level of scale of measurement, that is a ratio scale of measurement, where the starting point is fixed and that too it is fixed at 0. Okay. So when somebody will ask you, how old are you? You are saying, I am 22 years old. So whenever you are saying I am 22 years old, that means you have counted your age starting from 0. You have counted when you celebrated your first birthday, you counted that you completed 1 year of your age. So that means 0 to 1 year, then 1 to 2 year, then 2 to 3 year, then you have arrived at the stage of 22 years. So that's you counted your age from 0. You cannot say I am minus 22 years old and I have counted from minus 42 or minus 44. So that is not allowed in case of ratio scale, because the starting point is always fixed at 0 in case of ratio scale format. So that's say here why I discussed this thing, because forget about this classification and types of measurement scale, forget about these all these things, because that is not a part of my today's discussion. Just a minute. You just look at the this slide, scale evaluation, and this slide, development of a multi-item scale, and this is your scale evaluation. Okay. So whenever you are evaluating a scale, that means to know whether my scale is appropriate scale or not, whether it is giving the accurate measurement for which my intention was earlier or not. So in order to check that, you have to evaluate your scale, and this type of evaluation are of three types, because based upon three bases, based upon three criteria, you have to evaluate your measurement scale. One is your reliability, second one is your validity, third one is your generalizability. Okay. Now, what is the difference between reliability, validity, and generalizability? That means what type of concept these three terms are carrying. Reliability is nothing but your consistency. Validity is your accuracy. Generalizability is nothing but your applicability. That means how far the applicability will be same. Okay. So that's a reliability. Consistency means if you repeat the measurement, suppose today, if somebody is of science background, they might be knowing when you are in 11th standard or 12th standard in physics laboratory, you are using, so we are doing certain type of experiment in physics laboratory, like your speedometer, screws, slide caliper, all this type of thing. So while you are using those type of instrument, you are repeating the measurement part. That means you repeat the measurement activity for the same characteristics of same object repeatedly. And if you find that the outcome of all the repeatedly measured activities are almost same, that means that instrument is somehow consistent. Okay. Suppose, for example, you have gone to purchase some vegetable from a vegetable vendor, and vegetable vendor is using one type of weighing machine. That weighing machine may be digital weighing machine or manual weighing machine. But whenever you ask to give 1 kilo of brinjal, he will make the measurement of brinjal and he will give you 1 kilo of brinjal. But how far his measurement is consistent or not, in order to check that, again you asked another 1 kilo potato, then another 1 kilo of tomato, another 1 kilo of your onion. Then you bring all these 1 kilo of vegetable in separate polythene. Then again you go to another shop, okay, and check whether these things are perfectly measured or not. That means if you repeat the experiment, then there may be some chance, some type of variation. So whenever you will go to the second vendor, 800 gram. If all are of 800 gram, that means the initial vendor, he has cheated you up to 200 grams of vegetables. But his weighing machine is consistent because all are giving exactly 200 grams less. So that's that weighing machine was consistent but not valid. Okay. So whenever you enter the classroom, while you are entering the classroom, you may look at the wall clock. And at the same time, suppose every day at 10 o'clock your class starts, and every day you are on time. And whenever you enter the classroom, you look at your wall, and it will show it will not show exactly 10 o'clock. It will show 10:05 or 10:10 like this. Okay. Why? Because that is 5 minutes fast or 10 minutes fast or 5 minutes late. But every day, if that clock will show 5 minutes past or 10 minutes past, then there is no problem, because in mindset you have already fixed that this clock is 5 minutes past and this clock is 10 minutes past. Okay. So that's a giving error is a problem, no doubt. But again, this will be a danger, more dangerous if that error will be random. If that error will be continuous, if that error will be in a particular pattern, if that error will be consistent, then somehow you can correct that. Somehow we can correct that. Somehow we'll feel comfortable in correcting that type of error, because it is easier to correct that error. But today 200 grams, and tomorrow another 150 grams, and day after tomorrow 300 grams you are being cheated by the vendor, then definitely you cannot correct that weighing machine. So that's a reliability. Reliability just gives you certain idea how far your measurement scale or measurement instrument, whatever you are using, how far that is consistent, how far the results which you are measuring, which you are getting after measurement of all the study variable through that instrument or survey instrument, how far the results are consistent or almost same. That is called the reliability. But validity is nothing but accuracy, because we don't require only reliable result, as well as we require some valid result, because always we should not be cheated by 200 grams. Okay, so that's a here validity gives you accuracy level. If you are being cheated by 200 grams, how to reduce that 200 grams loss? That is the effort you are making to validate the instrument. Okay. So that's say this is the conceptual difference between reliability and validity. And generalizability means if the same vendor will take the weights of the your vegetable in this Bhubaneswar, and same vendor will go to Cuttack by using the machine, and same type of defect you will observe, then definitely that means although he has changed the location, the context, the time, everything he has changed, but same 200 grams less that weighing machine is giving. So that's that is generalizable, because this error is not consistent error, and by changing the place, by changing the context, also same amount of error you are getting. So that's a high level of generalizability exists in that case. So reliability, validity, generalizability, these are the three bases to judge whether your measurement scale is appropriate or not. But to measure the reliability and validity, again, different types of reliability and validity are there. So there are three types of reliability. One is your test, retest, then alternate forms, then internal consistency or split half technology. Sometimes we are saying split half technology, that is your internal consistency, that is your reliability. And validity are again content validity, criterion validity, and construct validity. In case of content, another type of validity you are also testing, that is your face validity, content validity, criterion. Hello. Partic- Participants, please mute your microphone. Please mute your microphone. I request the host, please you mute the microphone.
Okay, don't mind, please.
Participants to mute the audio and video throughout the session. Required to ask any question, please unmute. Otherwise, it's creating disturbance. I request all the participants to mute your video and audio. Please, sir. Continue.
Not audible, sir.
Hello. My voice is audible to everyone.
It's audible, but it was not audible.
Sir,
Professor
voice is
Misra,
not
can you
audible.
hear us?
No, sir.
Okay, maybe he has some problem. Please wait, sir. Professor Misra, can you hear us? Are you there, sir?
Audible now, sir. It is audible now.
Okay. Hello. Professor Misra, can you hear us?
Yeah, is it audible? Is it audible?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay.
Well, sir.
Okay, just a minute. Is the screen is visible?
Yes, now
Yeah,
it's
now
visible.
visible, sir.
Now it is visible.
So it is visible and I am also audible. So am I audible now?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yes, sir. Yeah, audible, sir.
Hello. Okay. So but echo is coming. That is. Hello. I would like to. I request host that again I am trying to rejoin.
Sir, you have joined from two devices. I think that there is a echo problem.
Yeah, echo problem is there. I am
You have
joining
joined
again.
from two devices. Okay.
Sir, voice is not audible.
Hello, Professor Misra, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear your voice. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Now am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are discussing about this validity, reliability, and generalizability. So as I showed one of the document that reliability will give you appropriate consistency level and validity give you appropriate accuracy level. And in case of your validity, I'm not sharing till now. I have not shared, so don't worry. So in case of your validity, what you are doing, there are different types of validity test. One is your content validity, construct validity, criterion validity, another one is the phase validity. Okay. So again, construct validity is of three types: convergent validity, discriminant validity, and nomological validity. These are the different terms, different types of validity tests generally we are using. But before going to discuss validity, first let me discuss the reliability part. And in case of reliability, there are different types of reliability: test, retest, alternative forms, and split half technology or internal consistency. Okay. So in case of reliability, as I told, if you repeat the measurement process, if you are getting the same, almost same type of score, then that type of measurement scale will be called as your reliable measurement scale, because it produces almost the same kind of score, although you are repeating different type of methods of measurement. So that's what you have to do to check the reliability. First you do the measurement, first you take the measurement, then give some time. Again you repeat the same measurement for the same units of analysis. And you verify whether the first test process score is almost same in the retest score. Then definitely by test retest technique, since the scores are almost same, you can say your survey instrument is somehow reliable. So that is just one type of common trick, one type of your manual methodology of checking the reliability of the measurement scale. Another one is alternative forms. In case of alternative forms, if you change the sequence of question in the questionnaire, or if you change the format of the question in the questionnaire, although the question content is same, if you change the format of the questionnaire or layout of the questionnaire, and you are getting almost same type of result. So in that case, you can say that your question items or the study variable for which you have asked some question in a questionnaire are also producing some reliable result, because although you are changing the format or sequence of the question, almost same type of result you are getting in case of your alternative form technique. Another one is your internal consistency or split half technology, and mostly in split half technology you are acquainted with the Cronbach's alpha. You might be knowing Cronbach's alpha statistical technique you are applying for testing the reliability score, and if Cronbach's alpha value will be more than 80% for a set of interrelated variables giving one construct, then we may conclude that yes, my measurement scale having different type of variable giving one dimension is highly consistent or highly reliable. But what is that logic behind this Cronbach's alpha? So let me share another screen, just a minute.
You're not audible, sir.
Yeah, just I'm trying to share one screen. Is it visible? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Visible.
Visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
PPT
clear.
CC.
Yes, yes, okay. So as you can see over here, reliability is just through these two diagrams, you can say this is just a target point. Okay, and if your target hits this middlemost circle, then it is both reliable as well as valid. But if your bullet, whatever you are firing out of gun, the bullet will hit only these 2 points consistently, that is also reliable. But in case of unreliable result, suppose your bullet will hit at 17 point, at 4 point, and 9 point. So in most of the time, in 3 trial or 4 trial, if you repeat the experiment, it is giving different type of score. So that's why it is unreliable example. This is reliable example. But that is not our point. But our point is how to measure the reliability. Okay. So here you can say this is KR20. So this is one of the popular trick of split half reliability, that is your KR20. So in case of your KR20, if you have used any type of dichotomous question, that means you have not used any type of Likert scale of your measurement, but you have used nominal scale of measurement or ordinal scale of measurement, not interval scale of measurement or ratio scale of measurement. That means you have yes no type of questions, 1-0 type of questions. Then how far it is reliable enough to test that you may apply KR20 formula. And in case of KR20 formula, here R stands for the final score. R subscript KR20 is equal to K divided by K minus 1 whole into 1 minus sum total PQ by sigma square. So here this is K is nothing but the total number of test items. That means how many number of questions you have asked in your survey instrument, and each question is considered as a variable of your study. So K is the total number of test items, and P is the proportion of the test takers who pass an item. That means what suppose out of 100, how many number of people have told what is that yes type of thing, and how many number of people have told no type of thing. So P is the favorable part, and Q is the unfavorable part who will fail in an item. So that proportion you have to multiply, and you have to add sum total of PQ means you have to add, and that has to be divided with the total variance. That means for the entire sample size, what is the variance of the entire score for the total score? That is your sigma square. So that's it. By using that formula, if you will get this result, will give you more than 70% or more than 80%, then you can say all the variables are almost reliable. So this is one trick, and for dichotomous question. But for interval measurement, that means for interval scale of measurement, where you have used this type of trick called as your non-metric scale of measurement. In that case, this KR20 formula is not appropriate. In that case, you have to use Cronbach's alpha trick. Okay, so this Cronbach's alpha is nothing but designated alpha or R subscript alpha. This is your Cronbach's alpha score. This is equal to K by K minus 1 whole into 1 minus sigma's summation of sigma j square divided by sigma square. So sigma square means variance, because sigma stands for standard deviation and sigma square is your variance. And here sigma j square means individual inter-item variance, but this is your total variance. Okay. So here sigma I square or sigma j square is nothing but variance of one test. That means for one respondent, what are the variance for a particular variable. So that is your sigma j square variance, and you take the sum total for all the respondents or for all the variables divided by the total variance, that is your sigma square. And this ratio, this value, if you subtract from total 100%, that means 1, and it has to be multiplied with the number of your degrees of freedom, and here degrees of freedom K by K minus 1. That final score, if the final score will be more than 80%, then that will give you the indication that yes, your measurement scale is somehow reliable, because minimum, if it is survey based, at least the rule of thumb says that at least the alpha score or KR20 score for dichotomous question, if you are having dichotomous question, that means at least it will be 0.8. 0.8 means 80%. Another trick also for split up reliability test for Likert scale, that is a Spearman-Brown formula. In case of Spearman-Brown formula, instead of taking variance, we are taking correlation as the part of your mathematical model of your Spearman-Brown formula. That's why Spearman-Brown formula RSB, subsplit SB means Spearman-Brown, is equal to 2 RHS divided by 1 plus RHS, where RHS is nothing but Pearson correlation of scores in the two half tests. So this is a split half reliability. Split half means suppose there are 100 number of respondents and they have given 100 number of data for a particular variable. You divide the 100 number of data to two equal halves, or you split to two equal halves, 50 in left hand side, another 50 in right hand side. Then take the correlation of first 50, take the correlation of second 50, then compare. Again, you alter one variable from this 50 to another 50 and second 50 to first 50. So just this is just like your shuffling of the playing cards. Okay. So that's always you are keeping two equal halves and you are calculating the correlation in different iteration and taking the final formula of Spearman-Brown formula. If it gives the score of more than 80%, then you can confirm, you can conclude that yes, my measurement scale instrument is somehow reliable. Okay. Another indicator of your reliability and your validity also, that is called the composite reliability score. In case of composite reliability score, you have to consider the factor loading. Factor loading is generally designated by lambdas. So you might be knowing factor loading. Factor loading means for a particular factor, factor means dimension or construct. The names are different, but concept is same, either the dimension or construct. So for a particular factor or construct, what are the different items or different variables? Suppose there are 5 number of variables. Okay. Suppose classroom is the factor, classroom is the dimension, or classroom is the construct. Under classroom construct, suppose different type of variable I have taken, that is whiteboard, availability of whiteboard, availability of AC, availability of furniture, availability of marker, like this. Okay. So how far to give the final score of classroom, how far availability of furniture matters? Or to assess the classroom satisfaction, how far availability of marker matters? That means what importance people are giving for individual item for the total item. Okay, for the total construct. Okay. Suppose for us, availability of marker is not so important in comparison to availability of furniture. So that's say availability of furniture is highly loaded to classroom in comparison to availability of marker. Suppose availability of furniture somehow related to classroom up to 80%. So factor loading is 80%. So factor loading will indicate you the amount of correlation between the member variable with the master latent variable or derived latent variable or extracted latent variable. Okay. More and more the value of factor loading, definitely more and more the importance of that variable to be remain in that type of factor. So that's a, while you are checking the validity, factor loading matters more, because more and more the value of factor loading, more and more chance is there that that type of variable should be the part of this type of construct, or should be the we can say it is more valid variable or to come under this type of factor or this type of construct. Okay. So that's whenever you are considering the factor loading is generally by symbol, you are using lambda symbol for representation of factor loading, which shows the relationship between individual variable with the respective construct. Okay. So whenever you are considering about the composite reliability means you have to take the square value of factor loading after making sum total. That means individual factor loading you have to add, then make the whole square of that. Whole divided by the same value you have to take plus the whole square of total error variance. That means square of lambda divided by square of lambda plus square of E, where E stands for measurement error. Okay. So what is that measurement error? Because whenever you are measuring a particular attribute of an object by using your scale, you are not got that 100% of the content you have fully measured, because you are measuring the attitude of a person, you are measuring the IQ level of a person. So attitude and IQ level are all qualitative terms. So your scale is not created by God that it can measure 100% accuracy level of whatever you have mean for. So that says somehow you have to make error. That error may be due to the lacuna in the scale. That error may be due to some administrative reason. That error may be due to some bias involved. That error may be due to some negligence of the respondent. So it may be any from any source. But after all, you are giving that error, and that error is creating some disturbance in drawing appropriate conclusion in your research work. So that's here, whenever you are considering the observed value of any variable, that means whenever you are measuring the variable through survey, so that is called the observed value of the variable. So always that observed value of your variable is the sum total of true value plus error value. Because true value can only be realized by God. True value cannot be realized by any type of human beings. Okay. So in reality, what is the true value? That has to be added with certain amount of error. That error may be positive error or negative error, whatever, but error has to be added. So when true value along with some error will be there, then it will be equal to the actual value what you are observing in society. Okay. So that's a no researcher can measure 100% true value of any type of variable. It has attached with certain type of error, measurement error, maybe bias or maybe different type of reason, but measurement error is must. So that's a measurement error should be the part of your validity and reliability analysis. So that's most of the formula of your reliability and validity we are considering the error. Here you can say this variance, total variance. Total variance is nothing but your sum total of error variance. That is nothing but sum total of error variance. Okay. So that's here in that case, how far, that means in comparison to your accuracy level, if error component is somehow manageable, if error component is somehow negligible, then you can say so to some extent your measurement scale is valid scale or reliable scale. Okay.
Sir, PPT is not visible, sir.
No, PPT I am not showing right now.
Okay, okay. Carry on, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now am I audible now?
Yes, audible, sir.
Yeah. So that's here, whenever I am talking about your reliability, so definitely we have to use certain type of trick like your KR20 or your what is that Cronbach's alpha, and in case of Cronbach's alpha, we have to consider the value of your 80% as the cutoff score or the standard score. So if the Cronbach's alpha value or KR20 value will give you minimum 80% or 0.8, then definitely that is the score which is the indication of goodness of fit of your model so far as the reliability is concerned. But in case of validity, again, there are different types of validity. One is your face validity, then content validity, then construct validity, okay, and then nomological validity. In case of face validity, what you are considering, in case of face validity, that means you have to check whether the research objective, whatever you have kept for your study, whether the questionnaire, suppose you are going to test the validity of your questionnaire, whether the questionnaire format of the questions, the questionnaire which contains so many questions, whether the format of the question used in the questionnaire is really appropriate to achieve the research objective or not. That means, suppose somebody is saying that I can say what you are thinking about me just by your face reading. So that means psychology, I am expert enough just by looking at your face, just by looking at your reaction of your face, I can guess what you are thinking of me. So similarly, I can tell by just going through the face of the questionnaire whether this questionnaire is valid or not. Okay. So that's here that is called a face validity. But content validity is different. Most of the time people are being confused that content validity, face validity are almost same. No, face validity is just the format of the questionnaire, the format of measurement scale. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, it's audible.
Yeah. Okay. So that's in case of content validity, what you are saying, you have to show the content of the measurement scale to some experts. And experts are those people, those who are having some expertise or having some deep knowledge in that area of research. So just looking at your content of the question, they can say, no, 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 this question, why you have you are going to ask, it has no meaning, it has no link with your desired objectives. So that's so many corrections they may make. So either by showing some expert or by making some pilot survey among some limited sample size, if you find that most one or two questions, most of the people are doing mistakes, so definitely you may delete that. So that's the type of analysis of validity test you have to make if you are going to apply the technique of content validity test of your questionnaire or measurement scale. Okay. Then next one is your construct validity. In case of construct validity, definitely there are different type of construct validity. One is your conversion validity, another is your discriminant validity, another is your nomological validity. Okay. So what is that conversion validity? Convergent, since the term is called the convergent, that means somehow certain type of variables are converging towards a single point. So if all the interrelated items, if all the interrelated variables, if all the interrelated concepts are not converging to that particular dimension for which you have started the research work, then your measurement scale lacks the conversion validity. Suppose, for example, the same example, coming to the same example of classroom. Classroom is just one concept, that is a construct, which is the latent variable. And under classroom, so many items I have taken for measurement purpose. But classroom, under classroom, availability of AC, availability of furniture, availability of chalk, duster, blackboard, these are okay. But suppose I will add another variable, availability of plants, availability of trees, availability of food. Okay. So in a classroom, availability of food is not so important. Food is required for in the due course of time. Food is required, but if food is the part of your classroom, then what about canteen and mess? Okay. So somehow food is not so valid item under the construct of your what is that classroom. So whenever you will make the correlation among all the study variable with the food, then definitely you will have very less factor loading. So people may respond you the factor loading of food item for the classroom latent variable is very low. Okay. So that's here in that case, all the items along with food may not converge well if you will converge all the items without food item. Okay. So that's if you will delete that variable related to food, then more improvement you may observe for all other variables. But if you add that item related to food, then the overall explanation of all the variable altogether will be somehow reduced. So that's in case of convergent validity, what you are checking how far, what is the degree at which all the study variables are converging towards a single point of dimension, and that single point of dimension was also theoretically explored. Okay, because initially in literature review, I had also explored theoretically that this type of dimension should come out of my study. And if that type of dimension I'm thinking to get through my empirical survey by doing some type of deletion and addition of variable, then definitely why not I will do. So that's say my measurement scale or my data will be more valid if I will filter out all the disturbing variable under that construct, because that will disturb the degree of convergence towards a single point. So that is called your convergence validity. Then second construct validity, that is called the discriminant validity, and in case of discriminant validity, what you are saying, it is just conceptually it is just the opposite of convergent validity. Okay. What is that discriminant validity? That means although within a construct the similarity should be more among the variable, but between two or among three construct the difference should be more. Okay, because if there will be more overlapping among the construct, that will invite more error in the conclusion drawn. Okay, so that's say as far as possible you try to consider unique dimension. You try to explore some unique type of dimension, some type of unique type of a specific type of construct which are very less associated with each other, or which are very less correlated with each other. That means the discrimination among the master variables, the discrimination among the latent variables or construct of your study should be more. So if it will be more, then you can say yes, it contains some of the discriminant validity. That means suppose for example, within the classroom, the correlation among the students' marks should be more. But between two classroom or among three classroom, there should be huge difference in the score. Why there should be huge difference? Because different teachers are teaching, and the students in different classroom are not of same standard, they are of different standard. Okay, so the people those who are studying in chartered accountant, for them 50% mark is enough. For the people who are studying in class 9 or 10, nowadays 90% mark are not even not enough. Okay, so that's here there should be huge differentiation between two type of construct, although both are same under one construct, that is your classroom. So that's here in that case discriminant validity is also another matter to be considered uh, in validity tests. Another one is a nomological test, nomological validity. What is that nomological validity? In case of nomological validity, you are deriving certain type of theoretical model from the literature review or conceptual model from your review of literature. Whenever you are writing the thesis, or whenever you are doing your PhD work or MPhil research work or any type of dissertation work, after making some literature review, you have identified the research gap, identified the problem, formulated the question, everything. But all the questions should be in a single conceptual diagram. Okay, that means you develop your own concept. People have already given their own concept in a model form, but what extra thing you want to do in the existing model? So once I attended one seminar just a long back, maybe 15 years back or 20 years back. I had attended a seminar in IIM Kolkata. Professor N.K. Malhotra, who is the great researcher in marketing field, he told in his speech that if you are unable to develop a completely new model, it's better to challenge others' model. Okay, so although you can't develop the complete new vaccine of COVID-19, better to challenge the existing COVID vaccine. Okay, if you challenge the existing COVID vaccine with some appropriate logic, with some appropriate empirical findings, then you will also be the part of your research team. Will also be recognized as a researcher. So that's here in research work, if you can develop a completely new model, better you verify all the similar type of model which are related to your field of research. Then you find out what are the lacunas or what are the scopes of those models which are still untouched or uncovered. Okay, so all the untouched or uncovered things of the previous model you just keep together, and in a diagrammatic manner, in a rough diagrammatic manner, you conceptualize your own thought. Okay, and that conceptualization in a diagrammatic manner is called as a conceptual model of your research. And that conceptual model is of course backed by the existing literature and with some supporting empirical findings of the past researchers. You have not conceptualized of your own single-handedly. You are able to conceptualize this type of conceptual model because of huge literature review, because people have told this type of thing, but this scope is still uncovered or untouched. So that's why I added that uncovered part in my conceptual model. So till now I have just conceptualized the model, but I am not sure whether my concept is right or wrong. Okay. So in order to test my conceptual model, in order to test the validity of my concept, to test the logic or what is that eligibility of my conceptual model to be the part of my society, I have to collect the data. So, and that means I have to give some empirical support to my conceptual model. And whenever I will be able to give some empirical support to my conceptual model, that name will be changed from conceptual model, that name will converted to research model or empirical model. And that research model or empirical model is your totally your contribution. It is not the contribution of other researcher. That is your contribution. If somebody will ask you, okay, you have completed your PhD, then what is your contribution in 1 minute you tell. So you have to just give the brief highlights about your research model, whatever you have recommended, that is your contribution. Okay, but just by recommending a solution is not the thing of your research work. Okay, while you are recommending a solution by giving one empirical model or any type of research model, appropriate logic has to be added to this type of empirical model, and that logic is nothing but in terms of reliability and validity. How far your model is valid, how far your model is accurate, how far your model is consistent, how far your model is generalized. Okay, so all these type of things you have to also consider while you are doing your research work. That means you are converting the conceptual model to the empirical model. So that's here, while you are testing the validity, maybe it may be convergent validity or discriminant validity or nomological validity, so or content validity, phase validity. So what type of validity we are testing, that does not matter, because in most of the cases content validity and construct validity is must. Then nomological validity, other validity may be based upon your choice. But all these type of validity test, whatever you are making, that validity test should have some appropriate logic. Without any logic, just by putting it in software and getting some empirical result, some numbers, some diagrams, if you show, then that will have no meaning of your validity test. That means after testing your model validity, whether the contribution or the application of your model, whatever you have searched for, that application will have some justified meaning, whether it will add certain value to the present level of academic knowledge or present level of industry. So that type of thing, if you will tell, then definitely your validity test will have certain meaning, because you have tested the validity of your instrument, measurement scale, and you have tested the validity of your data and information. And finally, we hope that this type of valid solution or justified solution will definitely solve our research problem. Okay, so this type of thing generally, am I audible or not? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Audible, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
So whenever you are talking about your what is that validity test, whether convergent validity or discriminant validity, one term you are coming across, you might be knowing, that is AVE, average variance extracted. Okay. So what is that average variance extracted? Because if average variance extracted or AVE
Sorry, sir.
is, yeah,
Sorry, sir. Sorry,
average,
sir.
hello?
Can I ask a question, please? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you ask a question.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. You talked about the construct, that there is a content construct, and also there is what we call it discriminant validity.
Yeah.
But my question now, you said that, for example, you cited an example of a class and a school, that in a class,
Yeah.
the discriminant validity, when you talk about discriminant validity in a class, we expect that the difference between the marks of student to be less, the difference to be less. Why? Because there is some sort of same teaching methodology and things like that. But when you talk about one class and the other class within the school, that discriminant validity we expect to be high. So my question is, what is the demarcations of high or small? For example, what is it in terms of percentage, for example? How much is it? Yeah, thank you. That is, I need to understand how much, for example, when you say it is high, should it be high when it is between a class and the school, and when it should be small when it is within the class? What extent, please, sir?
Yes, I got your question, and in fact, that is my just right now I'm going to tell about that. That means what is the cutoff score, and how you can finalize or how you can confirm that it is of discriminant validity or it is of what is that construct validity or convergent validity. Convergent validity can be confirmed by one term that is called the AVE, average variance extracted. Okay, average variance extracted, that is just one thing. That means for one construct, what are the member variables, and for each of the member variable there is one factor loading. Okay, then take the formula of average variance extracted related to factor loading. That means each of the factor loading you make them square, then divide that squared factor loading along with the error variance. Then if it is at least 50% or more than 50%, so that's say if it is at least 50% or more than 50%, that means 0.5. If AVE is minimum 0.5, then you can confirm that yes, it has some convergent validity. Okay, but talking about discriminant validity, that means how you will confirm that one construct is different from another construct, or whether it is having this appropriate level of discriminant validity or not. In that case, what you have to do, you have to compare this AVE, average variance extracted, for each of the construct with the total your multiple correlation of all the items in both of the construct. If multiple correlation of all the items in both of the construct are lesser than your average variance extracted, that means if multiple correlation, suppose MC stands for multiple correlation, if multiple correlation is lower than the AVE, whatever you have calculated, then definitely you can say yes, it is having some appropriate level of discriminant validity. So that's why in order to check the discriminant validity and convergence validity, these are the tricks by using certain type of formula or by comparing different type of formula and arriving at a particular cutoff score. You can be sure that if it is more than 50%, then if AB is more than 50%, then convergent validity exists. And if AB is higher than multiple correlation combinedly for all the constructs, then definitely all the constructs are having appropriate level of discriminant validity. So that is the point of checkpoint to check whether it is convergent validity is having convergent validity or discriminant validity or not. Got my answer, I think?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. Any other question?
No question.
Any other question from any other participant? Okay, let me talk about another 5 minutes, then we'll start our question answer session. Okay, so that's here in this convergent validity and discriminant validity, one term frequently you are dependent upon one term, that is AVE, average variance extracted. So that's whenever you are going to calculate average variance extracted, so definitely whatever response score you have recorded in your database, and based upon the response score, and it will be easier instead of doing this in SPSS, but if you do manually in MS Excel, you just create one formula for all this type of variable, then it will be easier with appropriate graphs. So in that case, what you have to do, you create one mathematical formula in MS Excel of ABE, another formula of multiple correlation, and another formula of your what is that composite reliability score. And definitely composite reliability score cutoff score is 70%. Now most of the researchers they are saying 80%, few of the researchers they have told 70%, but taking it at higher side, let's keep it at 80%. So composite reliability score is again dependent upon your individual factor loading, but in composite reliability you are taking the whole square of factor loading after summation. But in case of ABE, individual factor loading you are making square, then you are adding. Okay. So sum of square factor loading is ABE, and square of sum of your factor loading, that is your composite reliability or CR. So that's in case of your composite reliability, the score should be minimum 70 to 80%. That's why you can say it is both reliable as well as valid. But another case in case of ABE, since in ABE you are taking the sum total of individual squared factor loading, so that's the cutoff score is somehow lower in comparison to composite reliability. That side is 50%. So if it is more than 50%, that means combinedly all the member variables of a particular construct or all the research items of a particular specific research construct combined are explaining at least 50% of the total value of your construct. So if they carry the eligibility of at least covering 50% of variance of construct, then I can say yes, they are the member, they are the valid members of that construct. So that's why they may pass in validity test of your measurement scale. And in case of discriminant validity, the logic is why you are comparing multiple correlation with your average variance, because in discriminant validity, what is the multiple correlation means? Here I am talking about the correlation among the construct to construct. That means between the construct, not within the construct. Okay. So between 3 construct or between 4 construct, what is the multiple correlation? That means what is the overlapping or sharing nature of multiple correlation? If that percentage of correlation is lower than individual within construct correlation, that is your average variance extracted, then you can say that the sharing or overlapping is not higher than the individual correlation within correlation. So that's a appropriate discrimination exists. So that's a here that is the trick of arriving at the conclusion how far you can conclude it is of having appropriate level of discriminant validity or convergent validity or nomological validity. In nomological validity, already I have told in the beginning, that means you are having a theoretical model or conceptual model, then you are comparing your empirical model with the theoretical model or conceptual model, then you are finding the appropriate measures, statistical measures of goodness of fit, that is called the goodness of fit indices. And mostly in RStudio software or AMOS, we can run the structural equation model, and you can get the in output screen you can get the goodness of fit indices. Because of less time, I cannot show the RStudio software or AMOS software, but that is quite interesting. So that's whenever you will get that model in the output. And in the output screen also so many tables you can see, and in table most of the goodness of fit indices like your comparative fit indices, goodness of fit indices, so TLI, CFI, GFI, all this type of indices you can get. And if their scores are minimum 90 or 95%, then you can conclude that yes, your model is having appropriate nomological validity because it obeys the derived concept, whatever you have extracted out of the existing theory. That concept is also valid, or your research model is also valid or logical along with the concept. Okay, so that is your nomological validity. So these are the few concepts of your reliability and validity test. And in case of reliability, you are taking the consistency either by Cronbach's alpha or by any type of manual method, test, retest, or split up your what is that KR20. But in case of validity, utmost care should be taken, because first you run the test of reliability, then you trust the run of test, then you run the test of validity. Okay, because unless until the variables data are reliable, the chance of validity will be less. Okay, so first make them reliable. That means how Cronbach's alpha will be more than 80%, that you have to take. And whenever you are running Cronbach's alpha, try to consider at least 2 items of one's construct, because one item if you consider in SPSS or any other software, if one item you will consider, it is not possible to get the Cronbach's alpha score, because that software is running the correlation among inter-item correlation. So that's at least 2 items of a particular construct you have to consider. Then the total scale item reliability Cronbach's alpha for individual dimension Cronbach's alpha you can get, and that should be minimum 80% at least. Okay. So this is all about your brief idea about your reliability and validity and pilot survey. Now it's time for question answer session. We are having 10 minutes more. So participants are requested to ask any question related to this.
Hello.
Hello.
Can we go, sir, for some question answers? I request all the participants to unmute, and directly you can ask the question to our expert.
Yeah, that's I have already told that now it's the time for 10 minutes time for question answer session, open question answer session. So all
Yes,
are,
sir. Yes.
yeah, you may request all the participants to ask any question. So Dr. Mahapatra, I think there is no question.
Yes, sir. I think also have shared your mail ID in the first session. So if they will have any kind of question, they can mail you. Rightly, they can write to you, sir.
But now we are having 7 to 8 minutes at our hand, so why to waste this time?
Okay, sir. I think we should conclude if there is no question from our participants.
Let's wait another 2 minutes.
Okay, sir.
Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes. They may think and ask.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have heard of a concept called judgmental validity.
Yeah.
Through the literature survey and by talking to the senior people in the specific area, if a person designs a questionnaire, then says that this has got judgmental validity. Is it the same thing as face validity, or is it just a misnomer. It is not. It does not
It
have
is same as that content validity.
content validity.
Yeah, face validity is different because face validity gives you the check of accuracy in terms of your only format of instrument. Okay.
Okay.
Format of collection of response. But content validity checks whether the content of the question matches with the objective or not. Suppose whether this question, whatever you are asking, this question is really a justified question to achieve the predefined objective or not. That justification only experts can check, or based upon your own intuition, own judgment, or you in your pilot survey in tutorial group you may get some response. So that type of things you are doing, and that is called your content validity. Somehow in different years, I have also gone through this term judgmental validity. Same thing, almost same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But while you are writing, yes.
In between the content validity and face validity, which one is informal?
Again, repeat.
The in between the content validity and face validity, which one is informal? So because I somewhere read that that your face validity is more informal and is regarding the subjective assessment. Is that true, sir?
See, face validity and content validity both are subjective assessment. Both are subjective assessment. Nowhere you are applying any trick of quantitative analysis to judge the validity in terms of content or in terms of face. Okay. So both are subjective assessment. So both are equally important, but to some extent content validity is more important than face validity because most of the researchers they are almost using the ready-made questionnaire or old tested questionnaire. So that's why there will be no issue in format, whether you are collecting score or response in Likert scale or different type of scale, that does not matter. But the content of the question which you are asking for a desired to arrive at a desired result, that is more important. Okay. So that's a both are subjective assessment, but in comparison to face validity, the importance of content validity is more.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. And again, after doing face validity, the sequence will be like this. First, you go for reliability analysis, and in reliability analysis, first you apply the test retest technique. Then you apply internal consistency technique like your convex alpha. Then you go for face validity and followed by content validity. Then you go for convergent validity, then discriminant validity, and finally the nomological validity test. This is the sequence of any type of measurement scale if you are going to evaluate. So this is the appropriate sequence of reliability and validity check.
Sir, the last one is nomological validity.
Yeah, last one is your nomological validity. That means how far your developed model is matching with the underlying theoretical model or conceptual model. Okay. Because in previous type of checkpoint, individual variables or individual loadings you are checking. But as a whole, simultaneously you are checking only in case of a nomological validity. Okay. The overall contribution, whatever overall contribution, whether that is valid or not, theoretically, logically or not, that can be tested through nomological validity. Another one is your criterion validity. That means suppose in criterion validity, whether your model is having appropriate predictive power or not. Okay. So whether it can be used for to predict future another variable or not. What is the ability of this model to predict future? That is also criterion validity. So many concepts are day by day coming, but basic test of validity and reliability are only these things whatever I have discussed.
Thank you.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I got you now. I have a question, please.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you talked about internal validity. That, for example, if you test by using the Cronbachn alpha, that is an internal reliability. But
Yeah.
before that, you say that there is another reliability. So that reliability you are saying, is that the test that a researcher test it through the questionnaire, for example, as a pilot study before going entirely to the full study? That is it, the reliability that you say we have to test before the internal reliability of Cronband alpha?
Yeah, in reliability, I discussed about three things. One is your test retest technique. Another one is your changing the format. Another third one is your split half. In test retest technique, what you are doing, you are repeating the experiment without doing anything. Just you are repeating the collection of data by asking same question to different respondents, and if the responses are almost same, then you can conclude, theoretically you can conclude that yes, it is passed in test retest technique. Then in case of your what is that changing the form of the question, that means you change the sequence of the question. Sometimes in feedback collection, if you change the sequence of the question, then definitely the response score may be different, because people are not going through appropriately the survey instrument question. So that may produce some erratic data. So that has to be checked by changing the sequence of the question or by changing the format of the question. So that is called a change of forms. Then third category of reliability test, that is your split half technology. In split half technology, you are using the trick of internal consistency measurement. In internal consistency measurement, I discussed two tricks. One is your KR20 trick, another is alpha Cronbach's alpha trick. KR20 trick you have to use only for non-metric scale of measurement. That means if you are asked any question which will produce some dichotomous answer, yes, no type of answer, then in that case you have to apply the KR20 trick. But if you have used interval scale like your Likert scale you have used in your questionnaire, and the responses are in 5-point Likert scale format or 7-point Likert scale format, so in that case, don't use KR20, you have to use Cronbach's alpha. And in both of the case, the score should be minimum 80% or 0.8. Okay. So after testing the reliability, then you go for validity. Before reliability, don't run any validity test. First you test the reliability, then you go for validity test.
Okay. Thank you very much.
But in case of your content validity, that has to be taken care of in the pilot survey. Content validity. For any type of quantitative validity test, you have to do after reliability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't think there'll be more questions, sir. Actually, we should conclude here, I think.
Yeah, fine.
Now, thank you very much, sir. On behalf of ASBM family, we convey our gratitude for the big with us and for a beautiful session. Thank you very much, sir. Definitely, we will look forward to listen to you in the future program, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for a beautiful session. Yeah. And thank you all the participants. I think we should conclude here, and I'll share what about the PPTs. Sir, please share the PPT so that I can share with the participants.
Okay. Right now I'm sharing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone. We will meet again on Monday.
Thank you, sir.
For the new session. Thank you very much.
Sir.
ମୁଁ ଡେଲି ଯାଉଛି ସକାଳେ ଆଗେ ଦେଖୁଛି ସେଇଟାକୁ